So after much beating and banging and pressing, the bearing wound up coming out because that inner sleeve just getting it. So it's a bearing on each end with a pipe in between to keep them from crawling in and out. So once I got it lined up and going through the first bearing and into the pipe, it pushed the pipe hard enough to push the bearing out. But it's all together, and now and I'm tapping the bearing back in. And we'll see. It should be pretty darn true. It'll be a lot easier to see with the wheel on it. Looks pretty true to me. I don't think you'll see it wobbling going on the side of a hill mowing grass. So now we got to put the sprocket back on. It looks symmetrical. Maybe a little bit of offset to it. And of course, I'm going to assume it looks like there's a little bit of wear from that inner race right there. But, keyways, turn it. Come over here. So there's the keyway. And the key that goes in it, which it's not ready to go yet. Hopefully it will. Key to stay long enough to sprocket. And this is a dead blow hammer. You can see it's plastic, it's busted up, but it's got sand in it to give you some momentum. I'm going to put the star washer on. It's got a little keeper, a groove on the bore that lines up with that groove right above the key. Could have cleaned it up a little better. And you can see there's a shoulder on this nut, which obviously would go up. And it's fine thread. 64-year-old central nervous system. 2 cups of coffee. And all kinds of physical and mental abuse over the years. You got to kind of tighten it. Torque's probably not as important as tight, and then getting one of the tabs to line up. Which that looks like it might work. You simply take a chisel see it. Something hot here in a minute. So you can see I bent one of those stars, one of the prongs up into that, and it locks it so it can't come off. And then so then we take it over here. So there's an electric, where are you going? There's an electric motor in here that turns the shaft. That's actually the shaft of the motor, no gear reduction. And, or wait, let me see if I'm telling you that right. Yeah. And so this turns, and there's a cog, a chain cog sprocket right there with this bicycle chain that rides on it. And it goes back and hits a cog sprocket that's on this wheel. So it's four-wheel drive, but there's no, these two are just tied together. But of course, when you're going downhill, these unload, so they're free to slip, or when you turn, it's very light on the rear end. But if you're going up a hill, the weight shifts on these, so you truly do get a four-wheel drive action. It does really well. And then, this may be fun. Chain on. Started. Another bolt. Never tighten any of them up until you have them all in. Nothing's ever perfect, especially in my world. And if you were really a delicate person, you would use a wrench, a hand wrench. But I'm old and decrepit and got good sense. But you can see me easily running them all in to make sure they're going good, not cross through. This one's a little rough. Broke a split washer. Back that one back off. Just shattered it. So hang on a minute and I'll go get one. A metric bolt. I've got some, but I don't have one that size, split washer that size. But you can see how close. 5/16, or let's say that's 3/8. It's it. And we're going to try to make a split washer work on a metric bolt. Or die trying. Yeah, like I said. Yeah, not working. Awfully soft thread, so let me go back and look at my bin and see if I can find one, because it's hard to believe that. Must be a soft bolt, although it's 8.8 grade, which is, I think that's grade 5 in SAE, or equivalent, close to it. Stand by. So I got one on it. busted the original one if I used a wrench. I'm sure there's a torque value that's supposed to be on it. So then there's an idler. This is the electric motor shaft. Chain goes around the sprocket, goes around here, goes around that sprocket, comes back, and there's a small idler sprocket, which is just a sprocket spinning on a bolt that's used to tension this chain. You can see the slack in it right now, which would give some backlash to it. See how much I can move this wheel. So I'm going to take most of that out. I don't want it overly tight, but this is the bolt that idler rides on, and you can see there's a slotted hole that bolt can move. You can see, and as I move that bolt, it tightens the slack out of the chain. I can't hold it very tight with my finger. So if you move around to the other right here, you can see there's an adjustment. It's this ball on this bolt. So you can see I'm pushing the idler tight by doing that. So I'm going to push it back. I had to loosen it to get the unit out. So I'm going to push it forward. Line that nut up so I don't have to do it all with a wrench, a quarter turn at a time. 13 millimeter. It's made in the Czech Republic. Did a really good job, really good paint, powder coat paint. It's very well overall, especially for what it goes through. We've done some videos, but while it may only have 211 hours or whatever on it, they have been hard hours. And this is really one of the only main issues I've had with it so far. I have had some issues with electric motors. I'll show them on the deck. There's like six bolts that hold them on, and of course the blades are connected straight to the shaft of the motor, which is brilliant. That's the good thing about any electric mower, no belts. So let me see. Still a little bit too much slack. It would help if they had put it right down there against that bracing strut. There. I might eventually take a link out of the chain. Quite a bit more go. Safety glasses are clogging up for me too. So you can see as I'm running this nut in that direction, it's pushing that rod that way, which is taking slop out of the chain just a little bit more. Say that's plenty. And I run this one back the other way just to lock it, just to jam it in place. And then I tighten the bolt that the idler actually runs on. Stay with your head. And it's not captive. get it on. You know, it'd be 12 now. It's 13. Very little backlash in it now. And then, come back around here. It's got a little inspection cover. You can tell the greasy side in. The lower ones were packed full. This little hex button head screw. So 4mm hex. Again, I'm not over tightening them. Well, I spoke early. There it goes. And fell off. Yeah, a smart thing to do is have coffee cups, containers, and cups and stuff to put parts in, but I've never been good at that. I like losing things and having to get creative, looking through my junk pile to find parts that I lost. And of course, the proper torque on everything. Use a torque wrench. Be precise on everything you do. It's most critical. And make sure that all parts are perfectly clean before assembly. No dirt. You know, must be precise. I'm sure the Czechs wear white lab coats when they do this. And bingo, bango. The lug nuts that my wife's standing on. Always start them by hand. And you must, once again, this is a very critical torque application. You must look in the manual for the proper torque rating. And absolutely, under no circumstances, hey, and always use impact sockets because they'll blow up in your face. And always wear safety glasses. Yes. And never use an impact wrench. But we'll look on. But always run them up before you tighten any of them. And then get out your torque wrench. Torque them exactly specification. So let's see. I don't think I've got it jacked up enough to spin it. Pause a minute. equipment, any commercial mower, you must buy a special lifting tool and recovery tool, a 12,000 pound extending boom forklift, preferably OD green. So, the question is, and you should always wear a hard hat around things like this, because I'm going to raise my head up and get bashed. I'm sure the cord's going to be long enough. Nope. So, we're going to take it for granted that everything is in good shape. Take the special lifting tool. Never operate from standing outside the cab. But you notice I did raise it high so where I won't hit my head on it. So, this is the battery pack. And I think I said 17. It's actually, I believe it's 8 kilowatt hours. So let's turn it on here. Yeah. 50, it's 50. About 7.5. A little bit tricky to do when you can see it's got little rollers. And you can buy another battery and you could hot swap it, but it'll mow 5 or 6 hours. And if you're mowing up on a slope, that's a plenty. They also make a little Briggs & Stratton generator with a small battery. It's all still going to run electric that you can run if you want to burn dinosaur juice for some strange reason. Here are the electric motors for each side, that gold looking thing. And in the middle with this bolt, adjusting bolt, those are the brakes. So when you quit operating an electric motor, there's an electric solenoid that de-energizes and the spring sets the brake so it won't roll away on you. It's not easy.
Do you want me to lift?
Gotta make it look a lot easier on their YouTube videos. You pull these little keepers down. Oh, I missed it. I don't want to. I can get that back loose again. There it goes. Got to pick it up and then go in. Which again is not. Probably a little lubrication would have helped. And then it locks up front. Get the handle down. A little keeper. These little rings they put on it are too weak. And then right here locks the handle in place. And then press, actually, I'm gonna hook the battery up first. And I'm sure to keep them from cringing, I'm gonna power it off. That shuts the battery down, has its own BMS. This is the charging port, which is in a bad location. And this is the CAN bus communication to the main controller. Back on, plugged in. Good. And let's get the special lifting tool back in position. Starting to sweat. Not pretty, but it'll work. I should have 4 straps on it so it balances, but I'm old and tired. So let's see how true it is. Should never do this at home or in shop or under any circumstances. So I turned on the mower. This is the remote control you wear around your waist. Click a button and it beeps and flashes white to tell you it's linked up. Got a little wobble to her. So does the factory setup. And it's got a high speed. Stand right here. Not perfect, but I believe it'll mow hillsides.
When are you going to order the replacement part?
I've sent them an email. Then you watch this wheel, the factory one, which will probably break soon. So they might both be wobbling, depending on how long it takes to get it back. But while I could pick up more, but you can probably see it here. It's got a deck lift, which is probably not going to work real well. You can see it trying to lift. Yeah. So this is an electric motor. It's 1,500 watts, but I think it's got you have to look up it'll run 4 or 5 times that for, 15, 20 seconds. But the shaft of that electric motor comes down to these swing blades, similar to a bush hog blade, rough cut. You can buy decks that have finished mowers, blades on them, but this is the rough cutter. So each blade has an electric motor on it, no belts, nothing to go wrong. And the nice thing is if you jam one of them, it doesn't affect the propulsion of the mower, meaning the wheels, and it doesn't affect the other cutters. And you go along and a log or whatever you got hung falls out, and it takes off running again, no harm, no foul. The only issue I've had is these baffles, these thin metal plates that are supposed to direct the grass to a rear discharge, which they do, but they get bent easily with the rocks I grind. I've probably literally busted pickup trucks loads of gravel with it. So they get bent, and I've had to bend them back, and I've actually welded stiffeners on them. The other issue is right here. The electric motors are bolted in with these 6 bolts. It's fairly thick. It's probably 10 or 11 gauge steel. It could be heavier, but you can see I'm starting to crack here. The rust is starting to show through where they've cracked and fatigued. So I'm gonna cut new plates probably out of at least quarter, maybe even 3/8, and with the same cutout pattern for the motor, and use longer bolts, and probably at least tack weld it to the deck, but it would reinforce that. But again, with the duty we put on it, we also took a fertilizer spreader and mounted it on this up front, one you'd use behind an RTV, and there's an auxiliary port on the controller and the remote, so this actually gave me, I put relays in here to turn on and off the spinner on the fertilizer spreader, so we'd be able to take it up, the side of these banks and spread fertilizer with it. We also put a blade on it and used it a little bit too. It works pretty good. I mean, it's limited in how much it weighs. So I'll set it down and we'll mow real quick, see how it works. Provide lifting points on the back of the machine, the front plate. And I was up on top of a 10-foot high wall on a very steep bank when this wheel broke and fell off. So I had to use the special Raymo lifting tool to reach out about 30 feet and string that strap to it, pick it up off the wall, to get it down and repair it. So once again, we will lower the deck. Normally, if I didn't have this hitch on the front, it's very well balanced, but it's still, you can see it's balanced, so it's pretty slick. It will not mow unless it's down all the way, that it will move. And when it's not got that receiver on the front, you can pull two pins and stand the deck up so it's standing up face first so that you can work on it. This controls the lift of the deck, and there's a little proximity switch right here. You can see it's lit up that tells it, the controller, that it's all the way down. And you can see how maneuverable it is, even with a lot of wheel. And it's been pouring rain, so everything's soupy wet. I don't want to tear my bank up too much, but it'll come around. It's too wet right now to really show, but it's back in service. Actually, even with the rough blades, it does a pretty good job. Show you going downhill. And it is, I bet we had a half-inch of rain this morning, so it's very wet. We'll go over here on this real steep part. Probably slide a little bit. Let's see what it does. Holding pretty good. Towards the tree. Turn around. And you can see here it starts to put weight on the rear wheels, which helps it. Like I said, it'll climb a tree. It really will. And once you get the hang of it, it's very maneuverable. Very fast. And it uses pennies on the dollar, literally 80 cents worth of electricity, and probably to do the same mowing with a gas or diesel mower would probably burn 10 gallons of fuel. Definitely want to wear eye protection. Probably ought to wear a face shield, but the best thing to do is not mow anywhere near it. Stand anywhere near it while it's cutting, because it will throw a rock out with some velocity. So that's the Raymo broken axle repair. We'll let you know what a new axle costs and how long it takes to get it. To me, that's the biggest problem with buying anything these days, is getting parts for it. They want you to throw it away and buy a new one. I don't think they intend for that on this, but I've loved the machine. I think it's done a great job. I would recommend it if you've got enough money to buy it. We don't know nothing.